Welcome to Cordially Invited.
My name is Andrew Wincott.
I am your host, Lily Kay.
I'm probably best known for the immensely successful video game Baldur's Gate 3, in which I played Raphael.
My dear friend, I think you'll find I play my part in many a plot indeed. Cannot the same be said for you these days, true soul?
I'm also known for a very famous, probably the most famous, long, continuous drama, or soap, if you like, on the radio called The Archers.
Hi, Andrew. Welcome to the podcast. It's so nice to have you.
Hi, thank you. Yes, no, lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I want to start with your theater background because just like many actors out there, you also started in theater. And I would like to know, how did it start for you? Did you always know that you're going to be an actor one day? Was this the dream to do, or originally was there something else maybe in mind?
It's always been there for me since my, very formative years at school, certainly. I started acting in a junior school play, and I think I probably got the taste for it then. And then I acted in the senior play, and then I went to university. I went to Oxford and read English. And of course, the drama is an important part of that. And I was studying a lot of Shakespeare and Jacobean drama. And then I started doing plays, some modern plays, some Arthur Miller, Tennessee Williams, but also, did I do Shakespeare then? I certainly did Jacobean revenge tragedy, which was hugely formative for me. I did a production of Ford's 'Tis Pity She's a Whore in Magdalen College Antechapel in Oxford, which it's all about incest and revenge and love and betrayal. And Giovanni, I don't want to give anything away. It's only a 400-year-old play, but he considers his sister. He's having an incestuous relationship with his sister, and ends up cutting her heart out, and entering into the wedding feast because she's married Soranzo by this point. Giovanni considers this an outright act of betrayal. So he cuts her heart out in order to possess it, and then walks into the wedding banquet brandishing it. And I did this in Magdalen College Antechapel. It was dripping blood. and the audience on the very last night, it was so full, the Antechapel. Yeah. We got more, everybody had the last chance to see it. Everybody pushed their way in to get seats. They were sitting in the front. But I had to get catch the heart in a spotlight to give it dramatic effect. And it was dripping blood, which meant it was dripping blood onto the front row of the audience. So people were holding out programs to catch the blood. There was a scattering it was like the Red Sea parting, and to get out of the way of the blood. And then I simply stood my ground and continued with this revenge tirade. And a hand came up from the audience and pushed, because I'm so close to them, I'm just feet away, if that. And a hand came up and just moved my arm, which was brandishing the dagger. I thought, oh, this is fun. So we've now got audience participation. So I moved the dagger back and shook the dagger, so the blood went wider.
Amazing.
And at the very end of the show, some people came up afterwards and they'd either loved it or whatever. But one woman said, I was smiling. It was our last night. We were enjoying the moment. And she said, just looked at me straight in the eye and she said, if that blood doesn't come off my husband's trousers, you'll be getting a bill. And sure enough, Magdalen College did get a bill for the cleaning of her husband's trousers. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that was an awful lot of fun doing plays like that at Oxford. And that gave me more and more of the taste for it.
Yeah, I believe you. 100%.
Yes, but I could taste the blood. We also used a real, apologize to the squeamish, but we did use a real sheep's, or was it a lamb's heart? And but we tried to use as few as possible. But it did mean that, if I can put it this way, the heart the meat was rather high after a few days, so it did attract a few flies.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Sorry to be
Oh.
graphic,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
it is a graphic play.
My God. And the smell, I imagine, was
A
not.
little.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I do remember a fly landing on my hand, and this was in October. This was in the autumn. So a fly got into the antechapel and detected the decaying
No,
meat. Let's put it that
no.
way. Sorry about that.
I love it. It's just the I can imagine people. I know someone in my audience who's going to be like, no, please don't. I can just imagine the faces of like, I don't want to eat this, but it's awesome. The worst thing that we did in theater, if I recall, which was it didn't involve the audience, it involved one of our actors, and in the scene she was supposed to be sleeping, and the kids put toothpaste on her face, and then came the confetti. So that was
Oh,
like the whole thing. The thing is, she forgot to close her mouth. So
oh no.
when the confetti came, she woke up before it was time because it was all going in her mouth, and she was like, but they saved it. They saved the whole scene and everything. But it was quite funny to experience. That's when we learned that yes, don't open your mouth, kids, when
Yes.
confetti is involved. It's not fun.
It's not a nice feeling to have
No.
when you're inhaling confetti. Yes.
It's not the best. It's not the best. How much do you think, in your experience, castings and getting into anything really have changed since you started out and now? Is it more difficult, or did it get maybe a bit easier? How do you see it?
In some respects, the more experience you have, the easier it should be, because one thing should lead to another. And
Yeah,
certainly, if you develop a good working relationship with directors, they can employ you again. I mean, we see it in films all the time. You know, directors have a kind of shorthand with actors they like working
yeah,
with.
yeah.
And it's also true in theatre. I worked for some directors several times. They asked me back, and they trusted me with bigger and better roles all the time. So that was good. But I would say the big change that's happened in casting now, and this really applies more to screen work, is the what we call self-tapes, even though they're nothing to do with tapes. But you're asked to send, probably COVID had a big influence on this, because you just recorded at home in isolation, sent it in. But the problem is, you are these ever seen? How much are they watched? How much of them are watched? 10 seconds? It's probably 5 seconds. No. 5 seconds. No. 2 seconds. No. Oh, wait. 10 seconds, 15, maybe. You know, you just don't know. And they could be seeing hundreds of people. Somebody said to me, a friend said to me, he used to go into rooms when he was being, casting rooms, and he'd sit, meet them, and read for a part. And he had a pretty good strike rate, success rate. I don't know, maybe, I don't know, what would be a good success in acting? I don't know, but he would have a good success rate. 2, 3, 4 times out of 10, maybe, and that would be amazing.
Yeah,
But he said since self-tapes came in, hardly anything. Success rate just
yeah,
dwindled to almost nothing.
yeah.
Just can't get through. You can't get through with the self tapes somehow. It's just
Well,
that's the biggest change, I would say.
yeah. Yeah, I imagine so, because you
And
lost a personal connection that you can
personal
have
connection.
with the casting director. Like, you're actually there. You can actually say more than, okay, I'm just gonna read these lines, and there's that extra is basically taken away.
Yeah, that's
It's
right. There's no substitute really for
mm,
that contact, that meeting someone, and being able to bond with them,
yeah.
because otherwise it's so impersonal. And that process is also true of audio work,
Hmm.
of voiceover work,
Hmm.
sending samples in for games. You can
Yeah.
send it, how many people are sent. You're just one among thousands
Since, yeah,
potentially.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's made it tougher, I think.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I used to live in London for twice, and both times it was discouraging and encouraging as well that you could actually go in for the castings, obviously. But after COVID hit, I started doing the self-state thing, and I hated it because I sent out so many. I still don't know what happened with them. I didn't hear anything back. There was no feedback. There was nothing. It's like, okay, I guess that means that I didn't do it right. But why didn't I do it right? You don't get that because they don't care to take the time and be like, okay, this is why it didn't work. Because why should they? They are listening to thousands of people, who knows how many, as you said as well. So I think it definitely gotten worse with this. There's comfort to it because you don't have to go anywhere, I guess. But like, this is the point, no? Like you have to go out and meet people. That's how it should work.
Yes, I think the not hearing is difficult too, isn't it? You sort of send it out there into a void,
Yeah.
and it seems like it stays in the void.
Yeah.
But even when you go in, when you meet people, I mean, I've been up for roles in games quite recently, and then they everything takes much longer a game takes years to produce.
Yes.
Baldur's Gate 3 was about 5-6 years from
Yeah.
the very beginning, its inception. And certainly when I started working on it, it was pre-COVID. So that was 3 years. I was probably going into studio and doing the mocap sessions, at least 3, if not 4, probably. Yeah. But, I go up for roles and then they'll think, okay, let's bring him in again. Let's try him for this role or that role, or let's try him for the narrator. So you've now tried for different roles, and this would be my going into a studio, meeting them and talking to them, and reading something half a dozen different ways, and then still you hear nothing. You think, well, does this mean I haven't got it? Does it mean they haven't decided? Does this mean there's something's gone wrong in the process? They haven't got the funding, or they put the deadline back. It's a mystery. It's really a mystery what happens. Did I miss an email?
That's always a good question.
Did I miss a call? What obsessively looking, checking. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely know the feeling. What do you think is the biggest misconception when it comes to acting? What do people get wrong about this?
If I talk about specifically what is known as voice acting, if you like, radio acting, the biggest misconception is that or indeed audiobooks. I do an awful lot of audiobooks. I've recorded hundreds of audiobooks. Someone said to me once, "You do audiobooks?" "Yeah, but do you ever do any acting?" I thought, if you knew how much acting is involved in an audiobook, bringing a book off the page, inhabiting not just the narration, but all the different characters, thought,
exactly. Yeah.
It's the most difficult thing, actually. But don't get me started, or I'm happy
Please
to
go
talk
off.
about, I'm happy to talk about that. But with radio, there is a perception or a misconception that it is not physical, that we are just voice actors. I mean, if you talk to members of the Baldur's Gate 3 cast, no, they won't have that. We're not voice actors, because we were doing motion capture. So with Raphael, in the cut scenes, all the physical movements were mine. The hand gestures, they developed these gloves which had chips in them, so it would actually record finger movements. So all of Raphael's gestures in those cut scenes are mine. The physicality, the way I chose to, the way I chose he should be physically. So I felt he was almost a 17th century character. I have said he's like a revenge figure in a way from those Jacobean revenge plays that I did at Oxford. I put him as part of that line, and in fact, that sort of tradition. And in fact, last year I recorded, again in audio, Milton's Paradise Lost, one of the most famous, one of the most brilliant epic poems in the English language. And that's a 17th century poem which features a very famous devil called Satan. And Milton originally imagined Paradise Lost as a drama. And I saw Raphael in that sort of mold, in that shape. And so the idea came, well, perhaps I should record Paradise Lost. And that's what I did last year. That's available on AlisonLarkinPresents.com and also Audible. But you can hear the complete Paradise Lost. I think I wouldn't have done it probably if not for Raphael in Baldur's Gate 3. But my point really is the physicality.
Yeah.
And in radio too, it is a very physical medium. We are standing there with scripts, but what we have to do is to bring those words, those scenes off the page, even though we're still holding them. We have to embody those characters and physicalize those characters. And I watched other actors, and they are acting with all their body. It's not just a talking head. And radio, you almost have to do even more because you are just using your voice. But your voice, crucially, is part of your body. And whatever actions you make, whatever position you're sitting or standing in, will affect how your voice sounds. So you cannot detach your voice from your body. We used to talk about the center at drama school. We talked about that everything comes from the center. And vocally, that's exactly the same. We don't just talk from the head. We use all our body. And in radio, you physically, and the physical space in which we record. I mean, it's like old school radio when we record the Archers. We have different acoustic spaces. So, for example, there is a dead room which has a 0 acoustic. So all the outdoor scenes are recorded there in an outdoor acoustic. There's no echo. It's got sort of foam padding.
Okay.
When they reclad it a few years ago, they said, "Don't touch the foam. It costs £70,000." Thought, yeah.
Oh my God.
Why don't you use egg boxes?
That works as well, right?
But it's this incredible space, which is part concrete and part carpeted. So so it's the outdoor space. So if you're in a field, if you put some old magnetic tape, all my old performances, just discarded magnetic tape, put that on the carpet in the dead room, 0 acoustic, and walk on it, it'll sound like you're walking on grass. Similarly, you sprinkle a few stones on the concrete part of the room, the dead room, it'll sound like you're walking in a road or on a street with gravel or driveway. And we even have a little tunnel. And we call it, rather quaintly, the snail. And it goes around a corner, and it means you can make an approach on mic, because physical space, we're acting in a physical space, even though it's radio, and there's one microphone, we're creating space. So you can approach from, as it were, a field away if you go around the corner. And similarly, retreat. You can retreat from the microphone and disappear, and it sounds again, and that's how you physicalize it. So you move off the microphone and you can disappear around the snail. But it can sound as if you're calling from two fields away. It's the phone, it's for you. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think in general I always disliked somewhat of labeling different acting. Like, this is voice acting, this is theater acting, you're a theater actor, you're a movie actor, you're a TV actor, you're a radio actor, you're this and that. It's all acting at the end of the day.
Exactly, like, right.
It doesn't matter what you put in front of it. It all requires the same thing of you doing your using your imagination, doing the movements, putting all you can into it. So why are we making a difference?
Exactly right, Lily. Couldn't agree with you more. It's the same process.
Yeah.
You have to create a character. You find a voice for the character. You find a movement, a way of moving, that is particular to the character.
You played many, many characters, but I wonder which one of those characters would you actually like to sit down with and have a chat?
Which one would I like to sit down with?
And let's say you have only an hour to really talk things through. That makes it harder, I think.
Yeah, really difficult. It's a really difficult question. I mean, I would say if I can be protected, I would say it would be fun to sit down with Raphael.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and
definitely.
and find out about his background,
Yes.
why he is as he is, about his relationship with his father, Mephistopheles, and his mother.
Yeah.
Who is his mother?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's a very good question.
I mean, as a Cambion,
Yeah.
he must have a human mother.
Yeah.
So I would love to examine that, whether he'd tell me or not.
Oh, that's
he'd probably put a price on it, Lily, right?
Yes. Yeah.
You have to sign
You have to
something
sign
first.
something, yes.
I have just the deal for you.
Amazing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that would actually be brilliant. And I just recently saw that I don't know the writer's name. I'm so sorry. I'm going to put it in the description. But they're going to put out a book about Astarion and his origin.
A prequel, kind of.
Yes,
yeah.
yes. And Neil did the whole audiobook and everything. I think it's not even a question. Maybe it is. But if they would do that with Raphael, I guess you would be game to go back and read the whole thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would love that. If somebody wanted to do that, I would love to. I mean, I think that story needs to be told.
Yes. Now with the mom, yeah, that's.
Yeah. I mean, characters that are not, this is the thing. Characters, if you're playing a character that is not clear cut, that is ambiguous in some way, that is full of contradictions in some way, like Raphael, I wanted to play him in a very charming way, as the devil would be. There's a line in Hamlet, the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape. So that was my way into Raphael. I wanted to find his charm, but also to suggest the danger. So you're walking a tightrope. So the audience, the player, has to decide, I know maybe I shouldn't be doing this, but I want to do this. I want to know more. So he lures you in. And in spite of your better self or whatever, in spite of what you know you should be doing, you are compelled to follow him. So it's that rather dangerous part of his charisma. And in any character like that, I think it's the same. Characters that are defined by contradictions. Another wonderful Shakespeare character that I've worked on, although I've never played him in performance, is Iago in Othello. And I have worked on him as part of a one-person show project. Now, he would be fascinating to sit down with, but I don't think you'd get a straight answer. That's the thing about Iago. He will tease, torture, he will manipulate, lie, dissemble, but be the most charming man in the world. But I love his final line when he's asked why he's behaved as atrociously, and he's teased us with all sorts of potential motivations that may have compelled him to behave in certain ways. But when he's finally asked, why have you done this? He says, what you know, from this time forth, I never will speak word.
Man.
He just completely a complete abnegation of any responsibility to satisfy the questions as to why he's behaved as he has done.
Yeah.
So to sit down with Iago for 1 hour, cross-examine him. Yeah, but what about this? You wouldn't get a straight answer, but it would be fun. It'd be great fun.
Definitely. Oh, I like those answers. Awesome. I have to share 2 more things. One of them is both of them are about Raphael. One is my playthrough because I really like Raphael. I thought that it was the whole thing, like, he's evil and that you shouldn't sign things, probably don't make a deal with the devil, right? And obviously I'm that type of gamer who always wants the good ending and the good things and whatnot. So I was like, this sucks, but I have to kill Raphael. But the way I killed Raphael is the funniest thing. I don't know if it was a bug of the game or not, but I think it was because Raphael has wings. But how I defeated him is that I pushed him down. There's a bridge in the room where you're going to have the fight. There's a bridge crossing, and I led him out to the bridge and I pushed him down. He fell off and he was dead. And I was like, what?
As easy as that?
I'm like, what?
You must be very strong, Lily.
Yeah.
You must. You didn't use any barrels or gunpowder? You didn't blow up the House of Hope or anything?
Nope. I just went, let's try the push thing.
Like I was
already dying, so I was like, okay, push. And then I pushed, and I was like, how did that happen? What's going on? I was so confused. I was like, he has wings. What?
Why didn't he fly?
Right?
As we say in English, when push comes to shove.
When push comes to shove, exactly.
So maybe that's what it was.
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
Maybe you found a hidden way through there. The game's full of these little secrets and hidden corners and places that you probably wouldn't, some parts of the game you probably never discover. The details phenomenal.
It's insane. It's insane. I've played the game 3 times now. And on the last playthrough, I discovered things that I should have earlier, but I never did. And I was like, when did this? Is this in what?
How many hours? How many 100 hours in total?
300.
300?
Yeah.
Wow. So I've met fans at Comic-Con, some of whom are up to about 2,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And in fact, a couple I met in Toronto, I think it was, they said they played the game together but apart. Yeah. So they're on different screens.
Yes. Yeah.
And after an hour or so, they're playing together, but about an hour or so, one stopped and went over to the other screen, and then said, "Wait a minute, what game are you playing?" It was so different because of the path.
Yeah.
That she'd taken or something.
That's awesome.
But that's the great thing, isn't it? You can take your path, make your group, follow your decisions, take the consequences for all your actions.
Exactly.
And whatever happens, good or bad, but then you can go back to the beginning, choose a different path, different group, make different decisions, and then have an entirely different experience. This is I mean, this is wonderful. This is the RPG part element of the game that is, I don't know, this is the future, isn't it? It's, narrative is there to be, that's the difference. I love films. We started talking about films at the beginning. I love films, and I can watch a film a number of times and get something out of it that's different each time I watch it. I will experience it in a slightly different way, a slightly different emotional response, but it's still the film.
Yeah.
Whereas with a game like Baldur's Gate 3, you can be somewhere completely different.
Oh yes. It's honestly, if they ever gonna follow up Baldur's Gate 3, I don't even know how they're gonna do it. It's insane, like everything that you can do, all the possibilities. I don't even know how they made it happen in the first place. It's just mind-blowing.
Dedication, great Great people working on it, great writers, great invention, risk taking. Just and listening to the fans. I think this was an important part of it, because they had the early release in 2020, early access, and then listening, feeding back, trying new things. And I mean, I can remember a lot of things happened quite late in the process for Raphael. Harlep came quite late in the process.
Really?
Yeah.
Wasn't originally there?
I don't remember a bit. I remember, I don't, it's not, well, by Act 3, I think it's a different, different story.
Yeah.
A different game, if you
Yes.
but I think by then Raphael is a major antagonist, and I think there was also quite a desire to romance Raphael, and I think Larion's line on that was, yeah, well, he's the devil, so that's not really going to go well. So I think they created Harlep so you can have some kind of scene with him, romance with him, or someone in Raphael's likeness in the House of Hope. So Harlot was quite late in the process, and I remember thinking, you want Raphael to do what? And then the song was quite late.
Really?
Yeah, I remember recording that, yeah, towards the end, and I don't know, Bobby, somebody must have had this genius idea. We're going to give Raphael a song. He's going to sing his own boss fight. Everybody loves that song. Everybody loves that fight.
Yeah.
And so many people say when they get to the boss fight, have you fought him in the Of course you have. Of course you have. Yeah.
Yes.
They get to that point and then he starts singing. And they go, wait a minute. What's happening now? Is that him? Is he singing? Is he singing his own boss fight? And it's just fans say, wait, I have to stop. And then they have to hear it again because they love the song, and then it's on a loop. But yeah,
it's brilliant. Brilliant.
It's just an inspired idea.
Yeah.
And it's a tough fight. Some say it's the toughest in the game.
Yeah.
Somebody said to me, what?
Thank you for the push.
For the push. You had a push. You had a helping shove. Yeah.
I lied. It wasn't just two things, because I remembered I have notes everywhere, like in front there and everything. And I looked here and I wrote up, but this is going to be the last one before the fan questions, because you won the BAFTA for Raphael. And I always wondered, how does the moment itself feel? Like, did you even believe that you won, or what even goes through your head when something like that happens? Of like, okay, they said my name, and like, what's going on? What happens? I really want to know what happens.
Well, Lily, thank you for mentioning it, and yes, I did. And
yes.
Was it 2 years ago? Yes, I think it was.
Yes.
And it was exactly as you described it. There's a sort of element of unreality about it, because although it was quite a long process, you have the long list, then you get onto the short list, and then you think, well, I've got a 1 in 6 chance, and you think, yeah, okay, so it's there's a possibility.
Yeah.
But yes, I'd been to the party the night before, the nominees party, and then spent the next day. BAFTA sort of took over the hotel, the Langham, and there was hair and makeup. And I spent the afternoon doing a bit of social media, and then I thought I'd better put some thoughts down in case I won, because I knew what I wanted to say, but thought I'd better organize it if I did win. But then I started to get anxiety about the speech. We went down to the South Bank in a taxi from the hotel and did a bit of red carpet interviews, and then I finally got into the building. Glass of champagne, second glass of champagne. Yeah, okay. Starting to feel a bit more relaxed. But then suddenly, oh, please enter the auditorium. And I'm still having anxiety about the speech and organ. Well, should I say that bit then, or that bit? It doesn't really, you still don't know if you're going to. Might all be a waste of time, but it doesn't matter. I thought I'd better be prepared. And then I sat there for an hour or hour and a quarter. And I was thinking, do I really want to win? Because if I do, I've got to get up and deliver this speech now. And I'd rather have another glass of champagne. And then suddenly the category's there. We're here, because there aren't many actor categories. There's the best performer and best supporting performer. And suddenly the category was there. I thought, oh no. And then you go into a slight dreamlike or state of unreality where it doesn't seem real anymore. And she opened the envelope and said my name.
Andrew Wincott.
My, what manner of BAFTA is this?
And I thought, well, did she say my name? Or am I projecting this? And I sort of waited, and Neil behind me was shaking my shoulders. And then suddenly Tracy was there giving me a hug. And I thought, well, I guess they did say my name. And then you go into automatic pilot, something takes over. And I got down the stairs and up onto the stage and to the podium. And then I'm into the speech. And thankfully I did have the speech to give me the guide points. Someone said afterwards it was the longest speech in BAFTA history. Well, almost, not quite, almost. But I was aware. I remember thinking, well, if I'm losing the audience, if I feel they're not responding, I can skip. I can skip it, skip back, cut to the end, cut to the chase. Thank you very much. Good night. Another champagne, another glass of champagne. But I didn't feel that, and I did somehow navigate my way through my notes.
Yeah.
And then got off stage, and then it hit me like a wave suddenly of wow, and almost tiredness, of sort of numbness. What just happened? And then they said the first thing that was said was, you have to sign for the BAFTA. I said, what do you mean, sign for it? What? I said, no, you sign for me. I have a contract specially prepared. No, they said every BAFTA is numbered.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So if they go astray, they know whose BAFTA it is that has gone astray.
Look at that.
Signing for it, and then there were photos, and then they fed me back into the auditorium eventually. But by then, Baldur's Gate 3 had won Game of the Year. And so I was back on stage again. I put the BAFTA on the seat and went on stage to join everyone from Larian there, about 20 of us or something, 30 people on stage. And then I thought, I shouldn't have left the BAFTA on the seat. It might not be there when I get back. Oh, it's okay. It's numbered. You might go for a wander. Find the BAFTA having a glass of champagne. But fortunately, Neil's wife was sitting behind, so I think she would have kept an eye on things.
Yes, yeah.
So that was it. But there was an air of unreality about it. And then we had dinner, and all I can remember is messages from people. Everybody messaging and responding to messages.
Yeah.
So I just spent the next, hour or so
just
wishing everybody would, but wishing all my friends were there so we could celebrate.
Yeah. Wow.
And then we were there. I remember being there. I spoke to Bobby. He talked about the concert where I got to sing the first concert, the Gay Music Festival, where I got to sing Raphael's Final Act live, which was another hair-raising experience. I remember talking to Bobby about that, and then Bobby. Eventually, we all left about 2, and we ended up back at the hotel in Sven's suite, having room service and more drinks. And then finally, about 4 a.m., there was a knock on the door, and somebody from the hotel said, "Look, guys, you've got to wrap the party. Nobody can sleep on this floor."
No. Keep it down, guys. Keep it down. But
it was a great night. And,
I bet.
Really amazing. Yeah.
It was very well deserved, and honestly, congratulations. Like Raphael, the whole performance is just insanely good.
You're very kind, Lily, but it was a joy to play, and the writing was so fabulous. Adam's writing, it just had an elegance and a poise, and also the directing. Everybody at Pit Stop was so fantastic. all the sessions were easy and fun and smooth, and everybody trusted me in a way to enabled me to play him the way I instinctively felt I wanted to. So it was a very free and collaborative process. You know, a few tweaks here and there, suggestions, try that. And, you know, everything was great though. It was just a really great experience. But thank you.
That's the best to hear, because that's what you want on whatever you're working on, to just have a good experience and to be able to work together with people.
Yeah.
So that's always the best to hear.
It was very special, and I have said this to fans as well at Comic Cons and so on. You know, you can wait all your career for something like this. These jobs do not come along like that every day so easily. They're not like buses, you know. Something like Baldur's Gate 3, which is so special and has set the benchmark, set the bar really for RPGs now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And storytelling. But a gift, really, a joy to be a part of that process. But it's taken me a long time to get to experience it.
Amazing, amazing. I'm glad it happened, and we are blessed with the performance and with that game as well. So
yeah, you're so
best
kind.
time ever.
Yeah.
And before we jump to the fan questions, I have the information, and I must ask this. Can you please do me a Gandalf impression? I heard that you're very good at it.
Who told you that?
I don't know, maybe a little research that I did.
I did a bit of some live D&D play, and I created a character, Gandalf the Off-White. But in D&D, of course, as you probably know, he was a warlock.
Yes.
And a warlock can have a patron. And the patron that Gandalf had, I wonder if you can guess who the patron was. Well, Gandalf, I'm rather busy if you want my help today. Yes, it was Raphael.
Oh,
but if you, yes, well, yes, Gandalf the Off-White, or Gandalf the Grey, as he was originally called. No, it was wonderful. I've always wanted to play a famous wizard, and it was an absolute joy to be cast as Gandalf. All those lovely little hobbits. I can't tell you what a pleasure it was to act with them.
That's brilliant. It's like Ian McKellen just entered the room. It's so good. Wow, thank you. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, obviously. So when I figured that out, that you do an impression, I was like, oh, this is gonna be the best part. All right, I have to ask the fan questions. I cannot leave them out. There are so many, so please forgive me if I don't ask all of them. It's a lot, but I did choose a few. And the first one is from YouTube, from Xenon Faye. I still have time. That's the first line. It's a bit greedy, but there's 3 questions. So the first one, Andrew recently shared on Instagram that back in June 2023, he participated in several readathons to raise money for the excavation of the Elizabethan era theatre, the Rose Playhouse in Bankside. Can he describe to us how he got involved in these readathons, what the process of each readathon was like? And given how Shakespeare, I feel like this is already a lot of questions in one, how Shakespeare has had a great influence on Andrew's life, how participating in the readathons potentially changed his relationship or sense of connection to Shakespeare's work.
Gosh, yes. Well, that's a big question, isn't it? That's a big question. Well, firstly, how has Shakespeare impacted or affected my life? Hugely through the language, because Shakespeare's language is extraordinary. All the plays communicate. It sounds obvious, but the Elizabethan theatre was created through language. It's a triumph it's the golden age of theatre because it's the golden age of language. But Shakespeare was particularly adept at an inventiveness and also an intuitiveness, an intuition about language. All the clues are in the words, in the sound of the words. Read it aloud. Read a sonnet, but listen to the sounds of the words. All the information is there that you need. But there's also a beauty, sheer beauty about the language he uses, and tremendous wit and invention too. Much Ado About Nothing is wonderfully inventive in the sparring between Beatrice and Benedict. So yeah, huge influence. Shakespeare is a huge influence culturally all over the world, not just the UK. How did I get involved in the readathons? Well, I'm not sure how it all started, but I do know. Yes, it was through another actor who mentioned it, and I volunteered to go along and perform on the day. And they still happen at the Rose. They fundraise because they're trying to excavate the rest of the site. In fact, I put an Instagram post up on Shakespeare's birthday. A lot of Shakespeare's early plays, they think were performed there. They think Shakespeare himself performed there. But the Rose is also known for Marlowe's plays. Tamburlaine, Faustus would have been performed there. Edward Alleyn would have performed Faustus. So it was really, you think, I'm in the space, I'm acting in the space where Faustus was first performed. And the Rose is opposite the site of the original Globe, not the Wanamaker Globe, which is on the river. Of course, the river would have been wider in those days. But you can see the remnants of the Globe, and then on the other side, that's where the Rose is. But they need to excavate, and that's what it was all about, raising money. But you can go along and participate in the readathons, and they're essentially abbreviated versions of the plays. Pick up the script and have fun with it, improvise, just read it, and they do about, I don't know, 7 or 8 plays during the course of an afternoon, from about midday to about 7 or 8 o'clock at night. It's quite exhausting. They were getting me to do Hamlet and Faustus and Tamburlaine, and well, perhaps you need a break. Oh, thanks. So it really is quite a tough day, but everybody, you can go along and watch, or you can go along and take part. And just check out the website, which is the Rose Playhouse, I think.
I'll look it up and I'll put it in the description.
Or check on my Instagram, because I did link it in the post on the 23rd of April.
And there's a second part to this question. Also, before I forget, because I'm going to forget to read this part, please tell him Beth and Claire says hi and hope he's doing well. That's the last part of the message.
Thank you, Beth and Claire.
Thank you. I didn't forget. I'm proud of myself. And the second part of the question is, Andrew has mentioned and recommended Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon in several interviews and had described how much he admires it. Can Andrew describe his history with the album and Pink Floyd as a whole, what he finds especially compelling about the album, and also share what significance the album has had for his life and influence on him as an artist?
Wow, there's several questions in that question.
Yes.
Just read the first part of the question bit. They want me to explain.
Can Andrew describe his history with the album and Pink Floyd as a whole?
A history with Pink Floyd. Well, it's the soundtrack. We've all got songs, albums, music that provides the soundtrack to our lives, or formative parts of our lives. Mm-hmm. And that is not the only album, but that album was a key part of my life at that point in the 70s.
Yeah.
And well, the album has been it's influenced. It's been such a major influence, and it's one of the top selling. Not that that's necessarily a measure of an album's success, but everything for Pink Floyd, everything came together when they worked on Dark Side of the Moon. Everything gelled lyrically, musically. You can see it happening in their previous album, Meddle, and their sustained second side, Echoes, which they played in Pompeii. There's a wonderful film that was re-released last year where they were live in, I think it's Pink Floyd live in Pompeii, but from 1972, and they performed in the empty auditorium of Pompeii to ghosts. Yeah. You know, so but the second track, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. The second track, Echoes, is the forerunner for Dark Side. Echoes, and they're playing in an empty auditorium to ghosts, to echoes of the past.
Yeah.
So these are ideas, and Pink Floyd were incredibly inventive musically. I think David Gilmour's influence when he joined the band, and his harmonies with Rick Wright on the keyboards, Roger Waters' lyrics, and Nick Mason underscoring everything with the drums and doing exactly all that he needs to do. But there's a lot about the Dark Side is all about all the themes of the songs are to do with life. The album begins with a heartbeat and ends with a heartbeat. It deals with war, death, time, money, madness. Incidentally, Shakespeare's verse is written in iambic pentameter, which is the rhythm of the human heart. I just throw that in as a link back to Shakespeare. It's the pulse, the rhythm of the human heart. And it's no accident that the Dark Side begins with a heartbeat. And although some of the ideas well, it's an analysis of all those things, a reflection and introspection, a rumination on all these things that preoccupy us, money, war, these things, but also there's a tremendous joy in the music. The soaring guitar solos of David Gilmour, Comfortably Numb from The Wall is another great example. And David Gilmour he still tours and writes his own music now with his wife, Polly Sampson. But the soaring guitar solos, and he plays Comfortably Numb at every concert. It's become an anthem. It's this anthemic track. But you know, you have the dark and you have the light in a song like Comfortably Numb. It's whatever you feel it's about or how it speaks to you. When Gilmour, there are two fabulous guitar solos that just elevate, just take you. And but I've just used words there, the dark and the light, which takes us right back to the dark side of the moon, which reflects the light of the sun. But there is the dark side. And interestingly enough, or coincidentally enough, our team has just been round there to the dark side of the moon. The light and the dark underpins, underscores life. We walk a tightrope of light and dark. We're poised so much of our lives, I think, on a sort of metaphorical tightrope. But Dark Side of the Moon is just a phenomenal work. But it's always been in part of my life. It's never been far away. I remember someone saying to me at school, a teacher saying, "Do you think people will be listening to it in 50 years' time?" You know, well, why not? But here we are, and people are.
Yeah.
We're having this conversation about it.
There you go. That's a really nice circle. I'm gonna butcher this name, so I apologize. It's Ottige Otterina. We're just gonna let's roll with that. I don't know if I said it right. Sorry if I didn't. What is something that fans often admire about your roles, but which you find most difficult when acting?
It's difficult for me to say, really, what fans most admire. I mean, it's for fans to say what they admire. But I suppose when I meet them, a lot of people talk about my voice. They seem to like my readings of poetry. Raphael is often, the characterization is credited with a sort of charismatic mellifluousness, seductive mellifluousness. So that might be something that a lot of fans like. They're drawn vocally or to the vocal quality of the performance of Raphael. And what was the other part, the second part of that?
The second part is they admire, but which you find most difficult when acting.
Which is most difficult? Well, it kind of goes back to what we were saying. You can't really separate a part of the performance as being most difficult, because if it's an organic, if something isn't working in rehearsal, you find a way to make it work, or you find another idea, you go a different way with it. So I don't know how you felt about this, but rehearsals were times of invention, creativity, experimentation. Let's problem solve. I remember feeling that, sometimes excavating the script. What does this mean? Or how do we represent this physically on stage?
Yeah.
If it's a theatre piece, how do we block? We talk about blocking in moving characters around the stage. Does this work? Doesn't this work? So it is about problem solving, in a way, moving in space. But your character will be by instinct. You'll find it through instinct. I suppose that would be the answer. It's problem solving rather than, and then you find solutions.
Yeah.
Work around solutions. If something's not working, leave it. It's because it's not right. But if you can make it work, or you use your instinct to do that, it'll feel right. You'll know it because it feels right.
And the last question, it's a crossover question. I really like it. I think this was the first one that got posted when I put out the possibility to ask you anything. It's from Hannah Hassel, and she's asking, which Archer's character does Andrew think is most likely to make a deal with Raphael? My answer would be Brian or Justin. What is yours?
Quite an interesting question. Good question. Yeah. Brian or Justin? Well, they're certainly Machiavellian characters, quite scheming, quite manipulative. Mm-hmm. But then maybe I would say that if I'm identifying with Adam, perhaps Adam might make a deal with the devil in order to get what he wants. Because maybe he can't get it any other way.
All right. This was a fantastic time. I really enjoyed this talk with you, Andrew. And once again, thank you for coming on the podcast. Before I let you go, I have to ask this. I know NDAs are tight, but what is something you can tell about a project that is coming up this year for you and we can see you in it? Can you share anything, or is it like zip?
I can't really share anything. All I can say is watch this space.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. NDAs. Guys, I always tell you it's the NDAs.
And of course the Archers is there is a big story running for Adam at the moment. So if you're not listening, listen. It's a huge Succession story. If any of you saw the HBO series Succession, starring Brian Cox, it's a very similar storyline. I mean, legacy is huge in farming, how you pass on the land to future generations, and also how farmers, when they get to a certain point, Brian is now in his 80s, the difficulty of letting go, relinquishing control. Somebody likened the plot of this particular succession story to King Lear. To bring it back to Shakespeare, King Lear dividing his kingdom, but not wanting to relinquish control. Well, perhaps Brian will never relinquish control, but there is a big story running right now in Ambridge involving Adam and his siblings and Brian. It's a kind of war.
Oh,
it's a kind of war.
Interesting.
So I would say, if you're not listening, listen now.
Yes, I'm going to put all the links and everything in the description anyway. And you guys can now go ahead, maybe wait 2 more minutes and just check out everything that Andrew does. And whatever comes up, I'm sure Instagram is going to be a good source to find out if something drops that you're in it. And yeah, this was an absolute pleasure. And thank you for agreeing to coming on my little podcast. I really enjoyed this talk.
My pleasure, Lee. Thanks so much for inviting me. Thank you.
Of course. And maybe in the future, when the next big thing drops for you, we can repeat this and have another chat.
Yeah, let's do it all again.
Amazing. All right. This was Cordially Invited. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And we'll be back the next time. And Andrew, all the very best for you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you. Bye.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoyed this episode and you are looking forward to the next one. I can promise you that there will be even more amazing guests coming on. And I just can't wait to share that with you. And just to make sure that you don't miss out on anything, please don't forget to subscribe, turn on the notifications, and like and comment. Stay in the loop. Stay in the loop. Stay with me. And there are other things coming, are already on the way. We'll find out soon. See you again next time.